girl, we'll call her Sarah. She goes to the mall with one of her friends. We'll call her Kayla. So anyways, Sarah and Kayla go to the mall to go shopping. They go on a Saturday when it's really busy. They've been going in and out of stores for a while now, and Sarah looks down and notices she's lost her wallet. So they go back to all the stores they went to, asking if anyone had seen a wallet. They go to all the different stores and nobody's seen anything. So then they decide to go check the food court, because they ate lunch there about an hour before. They walk up to the store that they ate at and ask if they'd seen it. They said they hadn't seen anything. They leave the food court and keep looking, thinking maybe they dropped it somewhere. They're walking and they see that this lady has Sarah's wallet in her hand. She turns the lady around to ask for her wallet back. The lady sees them and is in shock. She starts running and they follow her. As they're chasing her, the lady drops the wallet. They pick it up, look inside, and it's not even Sarah's. So why was the lady running away? Like for part 2. Part 2 of the mall story. So the lady starts running, she drops the wallet, and it's not even Sarah's. So why was she running? They look in the wallet to see if they could find a number to call to give it back. And in the wallet, there was a picture of the lady and Sarah's dad. So the girls are like, who is this lady? Why do they have a picture of my dad? And why did she run away from them? They find a number and they call it. The lady picks up and the girls tell her that they have her wallet. So the lady starts freaking out on the phone saying, I can explain, but the girls don't give her a chance. They tell her to meet them outside the mall behind the parking deck, and then they'll give her a chance to explain. They said to meet there in 20 minutes. So the girls go out there and they start waiting. 10 minutes goes by, no sign. Then 20, no sign. Then after 30 minutes, she finally shows up. They ask what took her so long, and she couldn't say. The lady asks for her wallet back, but the girls say that they won't give it back until she explains the picture. Like for part 3. Part 3 of the mall story. So the lady meets the girls behind the mall, and they give her a chance to explain. The lady said that she knew her father very well, but she was hesitant to explain more. She said that they had met while they were backpacking in Europe. They hit it off and realized they had a lot in common. When they left Europe, they exchanged numbers, and they supposedly both lived in California. As she's telling the story, Sarah's looking her up and down and realizing that they kind of look similar. The lady said that a few years went by and they had no contact with each other. And then one day, about 16 years ago, Sarah's dad had contacted her. Long story short, they ended up getting married and having a kid. And that kid was Sarah. She explained that when Sarah was born, she became overwhelmed and she ended up leaving. She had committed some crimes that she wouldn't tell them. So she went off the grid, changed her name, and never had contact with Sarah or her dad. She said she was only back in California to do quote-unquote business, and that she never planned on ever seeing Sarah. Like for part 4. Part 4 to the mall story. So the lady tells the girls the story, and for a while they just sit there in shock. The woman said that she never wanted to give Sarah up or leave her father, but it was for their own safety. The lady said that she still loved Sarah and her dad very much, and that there wasn't a day that she didn't think about them. Sarah asked if her dad knew why she left, and she said no. The woman told her to please tell her dad the whole story, and tell him that she still loved him, and never meant to hurt him. Just as she says that, Sarah's dad pulls up. The woman runs off, and the dad rolls down the window and tells the girls to get in. They get in, and the dad asks, "Who was that you were talking to?" Sarah replies with, "Oh, just a friend." A few days later, Sarah actually tells her dad the whole story, but they never see the woman again. Also guys, if you have any interesting stories that you want me to do a story time on, please email them to me. nails.by.anniev@gmail.com. Thanks!
I'll never forget that time that I was fucking in middle school and I asked my art teacher if I could go to the nurse because my head hurt really bad. And he was like, no, you need to clean up because class is almost over. So I was like, okay. So I started cleaning, but like I started feeling like really bad. So I went up to him again and I was like, can I please like go to the nurse? Like I don't feel good. And he was like, it's almost lunchtime. You can wait. And I was like, okay. So I went back to my desk and all of a sudden I got dizzy as shit. The room started spinning. I felt like I was like about to die. Then my vision went blank, like completely black, but I could hear everything. And everyone was laughing at me. They're like, Zaria, what are you doing? Why do you look like that? And I tapped the girl next to me. I was like, can you walk me to the nurse? Like, I don't feel good. And she's like, you're joking. Like, you're not even being serious. And I was like, okay, I'll walk myself. So I started walking and I ran into a glass door and I fell backwards, hit my head, and then I went to the hospital.
We are back with another story time. I'm still waiting to hear back if she wants to be credited or left anonymous. So if she wants to be tagged, it'll be in the caption. So you guys can go check her out and show her some love and support. But let's get right on into it. When I was 9, my parents started going through a nasty divorce because my father was cheating. He was very controlling towards everyone in his life. While he was still married to my mother, he started living with another woman. My mother filed for divorce and warned her of his ways. She called my mother delusional, and this upset my father. Because of his retaliation, my mother had to move in with my grandmother and my 2 sisters. Over the next few months, he continued to try to attack my mother. In November of that year, after I got home from school, my mother was at my grandmother's house. This was very unusual because my mother was usually working. My sister was visibly upset and told me to go speak to my mother. So I went upstairs. My mother sat me down and told me my father had been arrested. Come back for part 2. Part 2. My mother sat me down and she told me my father had been arrested. My stepmother had been harmed. She left him after cheating, and he decided he needed to do something about that. He wasn't the greatest person in the world, but she didn't deserve death. I don't remember much after that, but I remember waking up and seeing it on the news. When they showed his picture, my heart sank. He was sentenced to 36 years. Recently, I brought myself to finally ask him why. He simply said, I couldn't control her, I had to. Honestly, I think if my mom hadn't left, she would have gone the same way. Thank you again for submitting your story. If you're watching this and you would like to submit a story, feel free to email or DM me.
This is why you should never take a prank too far. Once there were 2 young twins who lived in a small town and they were known for constantly misbehaving. One day a man had passed away peacefully in his home and the twins wanted to play a prank on everyone else living in the town, so they snuck into the house and started messing with the man's body. One twin moved his mouth like a puppet and the other one poked his eyes out with a stick. As they were doing this, they heard footsteps. They couldn't find anywhere to hide, so they placed the body back in the coffin, then got in the coffin themselves and closed the lid. But what they didn't know was they were taking the coffin straight to the funeral. The people carrying the coffin noted that it was much heavier than usual but brushed it off. No one even noticed that the twins were gone until the coffin was lowered. The twins' mother appeared at the cemetery about the missing twins, which stopped the funeral and began a search. Eventually, the man carrying the coffin confessed that the coffin had weighed more than it was supposed to, so they lifted it out and opened the lid. They did find the boys there, but they found them lying on top of the body, whose hands were wrapped tightly around each of their necks. The twins had been strangled to death.
Put a finger down if you go and meet your friend for dinner one night and you get there before her. So you walk up and tell the hostess that there's gonna be 2 of you and you give her your last name. Then you go and sit down, and while you're waiting for your table, this random girl walks up to you and is like, hey, I heard you say your last name. Do you know blank? And you're like, yeah, that's my dad. And she's like, that's my dad. And you look at her like she's the craziest person you've ever seen in your life. So she pulls out her phone and in fact shows you pictures of your dad at every holiday, graduation, family function that has ever happened in her life. And that was the day you found out that your dad had a secret family. And then you had to be the one to break the news to your mom.
Wow, this is easy. I got you. So I had a customer. Notice I said customer, not client, because she can never come to me again after this. But anyways, I had a customer that came to her appointment with her 4-year-old son. My policy's no kids, but he was pretty calm, so I was like, whatever, I'll still do your nails. So while I'm prepping her nails, she's basically being very fidgety. She's looking at her phone like every 2 seconds. And then once I'm done prepping her nails, she stops me and she's like, can I go downstairs and get my wallet? I left it in my car and I'd rather get it now than wait till you're done with my nails. I was like, okay, that's fine. So when she goes to her car, she leaves her son with me. So I would say about literally 25 minutes past, I'm up there with her son and she's still not back. So I go outside, she's gone. I try to call her. Sorry for the wait. The girl ended up seeing my last post and now she wants to fight, but I don't give a fuck. So anyways, I end up blowing her up on Facebook Messenger and got no answer. And I'm just sitting there like a lame, watching somebody else's kid basically, and missing out on money. I end up calling my best friend and basically telling her what happened. She ends up telling me that she just seen the girl on Facebook Live fighting. I end up watching the live and behold, it's her. So at this point, I guess I'm playing babysitter. I didn't feel the need to call the police or anything because I felt like she would get her kid at least by the end of the day, which she did. Yeah, that was stupid of me, but hey. So she finally reaches out to me to pick up her son. She said her reason for leaving was because she got on Snapchat and she seen a snap of her baby daddy and another girl at a restaurant, and she was thinking in the moment and felt like she had to confront them right there and then. So you're just gonna leave your kid with me? Like...